Recently, there was news around that data was being sold in the dark web. So how secure the data is with the people who are storing it? Because Google, Microsoft, everybody's storing data.
People won't let a robot treat their baby.
5 years down the line, how do you think AI will look at? Will AI take jobs? Hi, welcome to Infinite Talk. In today's episode, we have asked questions to our guest, which is most commonly asked questions on internet. One, deepfake videos. Second, about the AI that will take up jobs. And third, is your phone listening to you? Let's welcome Dr. Chico, who is a lecturer for data science at University of Exeter, a Russell Group university and a very famous name in the education sector. Let's delve into the conversation and hear it out. So welcome Dr. Chico, and we're really excited to have you here today. So before we start this podcast, just want to know more about yourself. What is Dr. Chico? Who is Dr. Chico? Just give me a brief about yourself.
Sounds good. I'm Chico Camargo. I'm a senior lecturer in computer science at the University of Exeter in the UK.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Brazil, lived there until the end of my undergraduate studies, moved to the UK, did a zigzag in disciplines, did some biology, some social sciences, and now I'm in the computer science there, working with one foot in AI and one foot in social sciences.
Lovely. So, I think that today we will be talking more about AI because your base is in AI and computer sciences.
That's right.
So this conversation really excites me because you come from a very big university, University of Exeter, which is a Russell Group university, right? So something about University of Exeter, how computer science courses are operated there.
Yeah. So the University of Exeter, you're asking at the right time because our computer science department is doubling in size just because so many people have interest in this discipline.
Yeah.
One thing that makes Exeter and definitely the computer science department very particular is that we are focused on applications all the time. There are other universities where it's more about learning the theory and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Ours is more like we look at the application and then we go learn the theory. Every project from the first year undergraduate to the master's, PhDs, always has a lot of focus on applications, whether that's medical sciences, social science, business, engineering, then it really depends on the students. We have partnerships with the Alan Turing Institute in London, which is the UK hub for data science and AI, and we have some lecturers that are fellows of the Alan Turing Institute. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
And that just means that kind of we have this link with the best data science and artificial intelligence research in the country.
Okay.
And that's something we can then pass on to the students so that they're always learning the very relevant stuff, the kind of the cutting edge content in the area.
In one line, just for me to understand, what is data science?
Data science is doing science using data. That's it. So it's doing, it's the science part will be asking questions and trying to answer them rigorously, science.
Yeah.
But the data part is basically that instead of crossing the river and saying I see an alligator there and that's it, instead you're probably dealing with some kind of database describing 1,000 or 1,000,000 alligators and you're using computers, using statistics to study all that. But in one line, it's doing science using a lot of data.
Okay. And how is in today's scenario, I think data science is used by most of the companies. And how is it evolving? And what is the use of data science in a FMCG sector, I would say?
Yeah, I find it funny that one of the predictions I have is that soon data science will kind of disappear in the sense that it will just become a part of every job. Kind of like today, you don't need to say that a job requires using computers. You can, but so many of them do, using email, that you don't need to ask people like you need to know how to use email. I feel the same happening in a lot of jobs that involve any kind of analysis. That a lot of them are just incorporating data analysis and eventually data science in the jobs. Any jobs where you say you work for a restaurant or maybe a museum and you want to understand where visitors are coming from. Maybe you work for a telephone company and you want to understand what your customers are doing, why they're leaving, or how to get better or more customers. Anything where you can collect information and you want to get answers to your questions, that's where you hire a data scientist. And that's why now we've got people with this profile in all sorts of industries.
Yes.
In many where you would expect them to be, like in a bank or in a big software organization like Google or something, but also in many places where you wouldn't imagine, like a museum, as I mentioned.
Museum is also using data science nowadays?
I know a couple of people who are working for museums in tourist places.
Okay.
And their role as data scientists is basically to help the museum achieve what they want. Maybe by helping visitors have a better experience, maybe by understanding what visitors want. So this type of professional ends up embedded anywhere where there are questions and there's the possibility to collect data, to collect information.
And what are the sources of collecting this data for data science?
One big source is sensors. So there in the UK, right next to Exeter, we have the meteorological office. It's the people who do the weather forecast.
Yeah.
They have sensors in the atmosphere, on the ground, all over the world. And someone needs to take everything that the sensors are measuring and combine that to make a weather forecast.
Okay.
No wonder half of the people who work for the Met Office are data scientists, because they're just trying to crunch those numbers. Another common source of data is what some people call digital trace data. It's the stuff we leave online. So it could be social media stuff, it could be your GPS, it could be the purchases you make on an online website. All of those things, that the little footsteps that we leave, or better, that the little things that companies collect from you as you are using their product, that is used a lot. So if you work for an online bookshop, well, you have the data on the people buying books. So you can see what books are bought by the same people, and you can make a recommendation, like a recommendation algorithm to say, hey, people who buy this also bought that. YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, they all do that stuff. Sometimes based on your profile as a user. So, hey, YouTube, I see you really like this kind of music. Here's more music. Spotify, same thing. But actually, sometimes it's just based on the product. People who bought this also bought that. I don't know a thing about you, but I know you bought this. And that data then is not something that the user is saying, hey, I'm going to volunteer this data, but companies are collecting, and someone is trying to process that, maybe to answer a question, like a scientist would, or maybe to make an algorithm that will recommend you the next song you're going to listen to.
So recently, there was news around that data was being sold in the dark web. So how secure the data is with the people who are storing it? Because Google, Microsoft, everybody's storing data. So how safe is this data with this?
I think it's safe to say that it's not very safe. There are lots of companies that sell data, that buy data to then call. I'm sure you've received at some point like scam calls on the phone. Who's calling you? How did they get your number? They probably bought it from somewhere. My dad receives scam calls all the time, messages on WhatsApp saying, hey, I'm your son, give me some money.
Oh my God.
My dad, fortunately, is smart enough that he'll reply saying, oh, my son, I actually need some money. And then they stop replying. They say, oh, that's rude. But because there are companies that very much sell your data. We, in the research in this area, we often say, if something is free, you are the product. So Facebook, for instance, Facebook is free, but they're collecting so much data on how we interact. In the same sense, Airbnb doesn't own any house, Uber doesn't own any cars. What they own is data. And that data is valuable, so valuable. So then if I'm a supermarket and I have the supermarket app, I can collect data on the people, what people want to buy. That data can be, and often is, sold to other companies. But that's actually how sometimes you might get recommendations of stuff that you never spoke about, or maybe never searched for, but they are relevant to you, because even though your phone is actually not listening to you, if I had my phone here on the table, it's not like it's recording every word, and if I say banana, it's going to sell me bananas. But my phone, if I put it here, I'm going to do that right now. My phone is standing next to your phone, and the telephone company has the reception here, reception there, so they know my phone has been physically close to yours. So if you have been searching for like how to buy microphones for a podcast, maybe I get a recommendation of podcast microphones just because someone made the association. Well, these two phones are near each other, so they're probably in the same place. So they're probably friends or something.
They may be talking about the same thing.
Yes, exactly. So they don't even need me to make any query, any search. It's just companies trying to think, well, they might be talking about the same thing, so I'm going to offer it to the other guy. There's a lot of indirect inferences because companies share and sell data to each other all the time.
So I have seen, now laptop companies have put the webcam as a shutter there, so you can just close it or open it when required. So why did that happen? Because earlier I saw a video of Mark Zuckerberg. He had a tape putting on it. So why did this thing happen? What is the reason behind this?
It's from the fear that someone is watching. There have been cases where someone sends a virus to your computer and the virus gets access to your webcam, and the webcam then is sending video to somewhere. What if your laptop is open and you're like changing clothes or something? Someone could be watching. I sometimes feel like that. Sometimes I want to block my webcam as well. But the ironic thing is that you might block the laptop webcam, but the phone camera is looking at you all the time. And that is ultimately because of that. Like if someone is watching, if the camera is recording and sending material somewhere, then nobody wants that. So having a little thing that you can slide is a lot better, because even when the camera has a little lamp, little LED light, there are viruses that can control that and turn the light off and still record you. So having a physical block is so useful. And this theme goes for more things. Like the best way to not have your computer data stolen is to turn your computer off.
Every time you use it.
Just turn it off. That's very safe. That's why many people, if they want to protect some data, delete it for good. They literally go and get a drill and like drill the hard drive.
Really?
So you cannot recover it. Very extreme, but it works. If I want to protect my phone, I can break my phone. That works.
Nobody will have the data then.
If I really break it, nobody can get it.
Chico, you work in the computer science thing and you have a lot of students. So I think most of the questions that come to you is related to AI, right? So one question from my side that I think everyone must be having in their minds is the AI, will AI take jobs, or will it replace human being in the upcoming future?
Right. So I was talking to an economist friend of mine who works just on that. She was telling me, and I very much agree, that some professions are more at risk, for sure. Any profession that does something that can be automated. So for instance, in the cinema industry, there are people whose job is literally to go over an image and tag, like, when a performer is wearing that suit that has a lot of little ping pong balls, some people have to clean those images. That you can automate. Or a lot of jobs in the creative industries that involve doing a simple task. Or if you are an intern at a law firm and you just have to read a document, I have machines that can read documents now. Some jobs, but some jobs have transferable skills. So even if that job might be automated, it might be similar to jobs that won't. For instance, being a cook for like industrial level cooking, that a machine can do. Being a chef, not really. There are jobs like being a nurse that you cannot automate. Like even if you have a robot that can do surgery, people won't let a robot treat their baby. So there's that level. But also, it is true, AI will eliminate some jobs and create others. But my favorite example is of a technological innovation that changed the world of accounting forever. Microsoft Excel. That didn't replace accountants. It replaced the accounting sheet. It made accountants a lot faster, a lot more efficient. And that means they work the same amount of hours but get more done, which that becomes a political issue. Maybe they should work less if they're going to get that done. But the thing is, it changes the nature of the job. Nowadays, if you want to be an accountant, they require you got to know Microsoft Excel. Maybe 50 years ago, that was not a thing. Maybe 20 years from now, they'll say you have to know how to use this AI tool. Excel, to some degree, is an AI tool. It's just a very specialized one. So we have some jobs that are being replaced, but we also have lots of jobs that will change, where maybe you're not expected to use AI, but it really helps if you do. And somewhere, yes, you will be expected to know how to use this particular software. One very obvious example is in design. Photoshop, Illustrator, and all of those, they are now incorporating a lot of tools from what we call generative AI. And Photoshop is a pretty complicated software as it is. But now there's extra functions that will generate images. And it's not that the designers have to completely change everything they do. But now, if you're a good designer at the top of your class, you also need to learn how to use the new functions in Photoshop. That's how change happens, that you just need to upskill, get used to the new tools, and that means the nature of the job will change.
So this deep fake videos, which is going viral nowadays, there are two sides, I think.
Yeah.
So what is your viewpoint on the deep fake videos that is just exploding the market as of now?
Yeah, so I'd say, I think there are two angles there, or three. First, the nice angle.
Yeah.
Deepfakes sometimes can be used for good things. I remember a case, it was in an older election here in India where a politician translated his video to something like 15 languages. He didn't speak 15 languages, but his team made a deepfake of him saying, hello, please vote for me in 15 languages. And I think that's actually quite nice because, well, it gets more people to see the message.
Right.
But that's rare. Most users of deepfake are quite negative. There's a lot of uses for violence, for pornography, without any kind of consent of the victim. And that's terrible and it's dangerous. But then there's a third one. People often get concerned about the use of deepfakes in politics, but to lie. What if I don't like your candidate, so I make a video of your candidate saying that he hates people? Well, yes, that can be done. But as I'm sure you know, it's very easy to lie without needing a lot of technology.
Right.
I can just take a photo out of context. That's it. No Photoshop, just a photo. And I write, this photo was taken when this candidate did this. But actually, the photo's from a different country 10 years ago. You don't need deepfakes to have a lot of impact. And that's why, personally, I'm not worried about deepfakes in politics. Because you can have a lot of problems without needing that technology. I think deepfakes in the area of kind of revenge pornography is concerning, and things should be done about it. But in politics, I feel like we have bigger problems.
That needs to be addressed.
Very seriously,
Also, that day I was just going through the list of AI tools that are available in the market. Most of the AI tools are being developed in the countries which are more powerful. So is it a way of, controlling the underdeveloped countries or making more wealth in terms of the companies which are operating AI tools?
I think that's such a good question because these AIs, especially the generative ones like ChatGPT, they'll be biased towards some kind of stereotype. I was playing with it and I said, hey, draw me a picture of a delicious breakfast. It showed me pancakes and bacon and a blueberry muffin. And it looked delicious. But you see how it's a breakfast from a specific part of the world, a specific country. If I want to say breakfast that I would have in this city, say breakfast in Delhi, then it will specialize. And breakfast is a good example because it's so simple. It's safe in a sense. So that's one thing we got to deal with, these machines, because they're trained on data, but they're trying to produce just one output. They will eventually fall on stereotypes. One direction that some companies are taking is to make machines that are specialized for a country. One of them just released Stable Diffusion Japan for Japanese stuff. So there, if you say, show me a man and a woman doing a thumbs up, it shows a Japanese man and a Japanese woman, which makes sense. If I'm a marketing person and I need a photo of a man, I get a Japanese man. If I work in Japan, that's great. That's one angle. What that doesn't fix, what that doesn't address, though, is the fact that you get people in, let's say, Nigeria earning $1 an hour to teach a machine how to solve equations or something. And then the machine is going to really make a lot of profit for a company in the United States. Where's the redistribution of this wealth going? That's still not happening. And it would be great to have machines trained in other countries, but in practice, you get a thing where there's money generating more power and more money, and a cycle, like we need ways to redistribute that. And you see how that is not a question of computer science anymore. That's a question of society, of government, and how do we make sure that this doesn't end up concentrating power in the hands of a few even more, because you need resources to train these machines, that you need a supercomputing cluster and all that. That's not a machine I'll train in my bedroom. So it's a big issue.
So if tomorrow I want to develop an AI tool and I have an idea, how can I do that coming from a small town in India?
So I'd say two main ways. One, ChatGPT in particular now allows, and I don't know if you need the subscription to GPT-4 or not. That's important because that subscription is like $20 a month. Not everyone can afford that. but that allows you to specialize, to fine-tune the machine for your specific task.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm a poet and I want to create my poet GPT. Yeah, you can do that. You can try that on the free version, and it's going to be a little worse, but it's free. So that's one avenue, and that doesn't require any computer science expertise. You interface with the machine by just writing.
Yeah.
Great. The second avenue is the one that requires coding. So even if you're from a small town, if you can get some YouTube tutorials, learn programming, use ChatGPT to help yourself learn. Actually, you can show it some computer code and say, hey, can you break it down for me? Can you explain what's going on?
Yeah.
I think that actually really works. Sometimes it gets the wrong answer, it's true, but still it's pretty good at explaining things step by step. If you use these tools to learn, eventually you yourself can make your own specialized chatbot. And often making a specialized tool is a lot easier.
Right.
So for instance, if I want to make a chatbot that will, given the ingredients that I have in my fridge, that will give me some idea of what I can cook.
Yeah.
I've seen one for that, but it's mostly for American stuff, mostly for European stuff as well. But maybe I can train an equivalent one for Indian stuff. Hey, I have this and this and that. What can I make?
Yeah.
And the robot says, you can probably make this. I think that can definitely be done with almost no money. It just takes a lot of time, not a lot, but it takes time learning how to do it.
Yeah. So this ingredient thing that you told me, that day I was looking at this new Samsung fridge that has been launched.
Right.
So it has cameras installed inside the fridge. So outside there is a screen where you can see what ingredients are there and when they will expire. So if you select 5-6 ingredients, he will tell you that you can cook this out of this. There are multiple dishes that he will recommend to you. And that just blew my mind. How is this thing happening and how things are just evolving in technology?
Yeah. At the same time, some of these are so unnecessary. Like, do you need a camera to see what's inside? Like, that's a door. You just open that. You don't need that. I find it hilarious when there's these Internet of Things devices where they're not necessary. I saw someone in the United States wanted to do a barbecue for a holiday, and their grill, you know how a grill works?
Yes.
It's a thing you gotta heat up.
Yeah.
His grill said, software update required. Why does your grill have software updates? Like, what's next? Your toothbrush?
Yeah.
I think that is taking things too far.
Yeah.
That also means that your grill can be hacked. It's connected to the internet. No, nothing makes sense there. Your grill should be, just fire. I don't know, like simple stuff. So I think some people take it too far just because it's kind of cool. Maybe it's it's high status to have an Internet of Things connected smart fridge.
But I think this development of Internet things is actually losing the essence of living. Because as a simplicity, in India, we say that, the simple you are, the more happier you be.
Yeah.
But with this new technologies coming in, I don't think we will be much happier in the future.
I fully agree. Like, especially for examples like this grill that software update. This is ridiculous. I think so often we just accept certain technologies because everyone is doing it. But when you look at see that actually does not make your life better. It just gives you more complications, more trouble. Even think a smartphone. Great thing, brings me a lot of new things in my life. But if you have a simple phone, maybe if you have a phone with just telephone and WhatsApp, that you can do a lot of things there. You don't need all the crazy technology on your phone. So sometimes simple is a lot better. 5 years down the line, how do you think AI will look into it? It's hard to put a deadline, but 5-10 years from now, I see two main avenues where things are going forward, and they're pushed by kind of the main players in AI. I was actually reading an interview with the head of Google DeepMind and another interview with the head of OpenAI, who are big players in this field. One direction that people see is the development of specialized AI tools. So, for instance, Google DeepMind made one AI that can play chess, and it's very good at chess and nothing else. One that can find the shape of a protein if you want to design a new medicine. It's very good at that, but if you ask it to say, hey, is it going to rain? It doesn't even have a chat interface. And what they say is that we might have some robots or some AIs that are general, like ChatGPT, and they can use the specialized. So if I go to ChatGPT 5 or something, say, hey, can you give me the shape of this drug? It will say, sure, let me load up the specialized tool and I'll use it. So a kind of ecosystem of different tools.
Yeah.
That's one vision. The other vision is that actually that won't be necessary because the general AIs will just get so good that you don't need specialized ones and that people will just interface with them. And these are kind of competing visions. So a lot of people are asking questions in the direction of, are we going to have a super intelligent AI that is, general and it's going to improve itself on and on and on? I think that's actually a naive take. We have machines that are very good at some things that we're not.
Yeah.
Come on, a calculator can multiply numbers that I cannot.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean this calculator can do anything. We're already at a stage where we've got machines that are complicated, they're very good, and we don't exactly understand how they work.
Yeah.
It's not like every time I open ChatGPT on a new window, it's making a copy of GPT. No, it's more like it's maybe like a hydra, one body of a dragon with many heads. It could be that. Right now, scientists are studying that, trying to understand what's the best way to describe this. And as this goes forward, what is it going to look like? Is it going to be a little archipelago of many tiny AIs that talk, or one gigantic AI? That's unclear, and people are building that. But as we do it, we really have to be careful so that we're not concentrating more power in the hands of people who already have it, so we're not making tools that kind of behave in ways we don't understand. It's something we've got to do very carefully, because now it's not just a child's play, it's something that it has effects in politics, in the job market, in the ecosystem. Google at some point used an AI to control their data centers to save more energy, to put them on battery mode or something. That's nice. What if you do that with a whole country? Ooh, that's careful. So that's where we're definitely heading, and there's a million reasons to be careful. And that's a point actually where, sure, we need more people working on that, on AI, on developing things that work for us, and not just for their owners, but for everyone who's using them. But we also need more people who, even if they don't go and study computer science, more people who understand what's going on, who know how to use these machines, who know when not to use them as well.
Today, it was a very inducive and a beautiful episode that you must watch. So we talked about AI, we talked about deepfake videos, we talked about how the AI operating around the globe. So just do watch it. It's an amazing episode to learn more about computer science and AI with Dr. Chico from University of Exeter. See you soon.